The Kethron hunting pack moved through the forest like liquid shadow, their six-limbed forms gliding between the ancient trees of the Stara Prime. Alpha Corvin led them, his obsidian scales gleaming in the moonlight that filtered through the canopy. His pack of 12 followed in perfect formation, their collective consciousness humming with predatory intent. They were hunting their young. 3 cubs had vanished 4 solar cycles ago during a territorial dispute with a rival pack. The Kethron were apex predators, feared across 17 star systems, but even apex predators knew grief. Even apex predators felt the hollow ache of missing children. Corvin's sensory tendrils twitched, catching a scent that made his blood freeze. Human. The word rippled through the pack's shared consciousness like poison. Humans were dangerous, not because they were strong or fast or possessed natural weapons. Humans were dangerous because they were unpredictable. They defied every natural law the galaxy understood. The scent grew stronger as they approached a clearing. Corvin raised one clawed appendage, signaling the pack to halt. Through the undergrowth, they could see her. A human sat against a massive tree trunk, her brown skin dappled with moonlight and scratches, her dark hair matted with leaves and dirt. She wore the tattered remains of what might have once been an exploration suit. But that wasn't what made Corvin's heart skip their rhythm. Curled against her chest, around her lap, and tucked under her arm were 3 Kethron cubs. Tavi, Corvin's own daughter, slept with her small head resting against the human's shoulder. The other 2 cubs, Mekris and Senna, were pressed against her sides. The human's arms were wrapped protectively around them, even in sleep. Even vulnerable. The pack tensed. Every instinct screamed to attack, to retrieve their young from the clutches of this alien creature. But Corvin raised his head higher, nostrils flaring as he processed the scene before him. The cubs were unharmed. More than unharmed, they looked peaceful, content, safe. Corvin's mind raced through possibilities. Humans were known to keep other species as pets. Perhaps she had trapped them, sedated them, planned to sell them to collectors. But there were no restraints, no cages, no equipment at all except a broken emergency beacon half buried in the dirt beside her. He looked closer at the human. Her exposed arms were covered in fresh wounds, deep gouges that could only have come from Kethron claws. Defensive wounds, but not from defending herself. She fought something else. Second Rena's voice whispered through their mental link. Look at the ground. Corvin's eyes tracked the disturbed earth, the broken branches, the dark stains splattered across nearby rocks. The clearing told a story written in violence. Vestran ridgestalkers had been here. Their distinctive triple claw marks scored the tree bark. Ridgestalkers were one of the few creatures even Kethron avoided. They hunted in frenzies, killing everything they encountered. The human had wounds that matched those claws. But the cubs had none. Tavi stirred, making a small chirping sound in her sleep. The human's eyes flickered open instantly, her hand moving to gently stroke the cub's scaled head in a soothing gesture that was pure instinct. She whispered something in her incomprehensible human language soft sounds that meant nothing to Corvin's translator but everything to his heart's. Then she saw the pack. Fear flooded her scent immediately. Her body went rigid, but her arms tightened protectively around the cubs rather than releasing them. She knew what Kethron were. She knew she was about to die. And still, her first instinct was to shield the young. Corvin stepped into the clearing. The human didn't run. Couldn't run. Her left leg was clearly broken, bent at an angle that made Corvin's stomachs turn. She'd been immobile this entire time, helpless, and she'd still fought off ridgestalkers to protect cubs that weren't even her species. Please, the human said, her voice hoarse and cracking. Her translation implant struggled to life. Please. They're just babies. Don't hurt them. I'll let them go. Just don't hurt them. She thought the pack had come to harm the cubs. She thought Corvin was a threat to his own daughter. Tavi's eyes opened, and the cub's chirp became a delighted trill. Papa! Her mental voice burst with joy as she scrambled over the human's lap. Papa, you found us. Mekris and Senna woke in a tumble of scales and excitement, rushing to their own parents who had pushed forward from the pack. The reunion was Chaos Adult Kethron checking their young for injuries. Cubs excitedly explaining their adventure through rapid mental images. The human watched with tears streaming down her face, relief and confusion warring in her expression. She tried to stand, cried out, and collapsed back against the tree. Corvin approached slowly. The human's fear scent intensified, but she lifted her chin defiantly. Brave. So impossibly brave. Through Tavy's memories, Corvin saw the truth. The cubs had been fleeing the rival pack, had tumbled down a ravine and into the human's path. She'd been injured in her own ship's crash. When the ridge stalkers came, drawn by the cubs' distress calls, the human had dragged herself in front of them. She'd fought with nothing but a broken piece of metal and her own fragile body. She'd nearly died. Would have died, had the ridge stalkers not eventually retreated. Then she'd held the cubs through the cold night, singing strange human songs to calm their fear, letting them drain her body heat to stay warm even as she shivered. She'd shared her last ration pack with them, though she was starving. She kept watch, sleepless, for predators. Corvin drooped his head, pressing his forehead to the ground before her, a Kethran gesture of deepest respect. Behind him, the entire pack did the same. The human stared, comprehension dawning slowly. You "Their parents? You saved our cubs, Corvin said through his translator. You are pack friend, pack family. I just ... The human's voice broke. They were scared. They were just babies. Rena was already calling for their transport. Others were carefully examining the human's injuries, their biomedical training activating. The human Lyra, Tavy informed them proudly. Her name as Lyra would be taken to their settlement. Healed, honored. As they carefully lifted her onto a transport stretcher, Tavy refused to leave her side, curling up beside her and purring a sound Kethran cubs made only when completely safe. Lyra's hand found the cub's head, stroking gently even as pain medication pulled her toward unconsciousness. Good girl, she whispered. You're safe now. You're all safe. Corvin watched this human who had defied every law of nature and survival, who had chosen compassion over self-preservation, who had protected cubs that could have grown up to hunt her species. Humans were dangerous, he knew. But perhaps not in the way the galaxy believed. Perhaps the most dangerous thing about humans was their capacity to care fiercely, irrationally, impossibly for those who needed them, even when it should have been suicide. Especially then,